Take full responsibility. Whatever you've reaped, it's your crop. Take responsibility. It's the day you know you've passed from childhood to adulthood. The day you accept full responsibility.
What boys do is they point the finger at other people. When there's a challenge and you start pointing the finger, you'll never get to the next level. As soon as you start saying it's somebody else's fault, what you do is say, I'm a child and I need somebody grown to handle this. You always want to blame other people. You want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you?
That person that's holding you back, that person is you.
All you got to do is look in the mirror. All you got to do is deal with yourself, and then we're going to get you a whole other level. You never look at yourself in the mirror and say, you let you down. I take full responsibility, and I'll do whatever it takes. I'll get up, I'll stay late. And that's why you point the finger, because you don't like how the pain feels. You ain't ready for the pain.
Are you going to say you want to do something, do it for 2 weeks and then quit? You say you want to lose weight, get your business off the ground, and then turn around and party, drink alcohol, and continue to live below who you were created to be?
The decisions you make right now is up to you.
Decide today that you will no longer tolerate losing.
You owe yourself. I didn't get here making excuses. No, my mama don't have no network. No, I'm not at a country club, but I'm still gonna be successful. And can't nobody stop me but me.
To challenge for yourself the upcoming winters of your life, don't you think you could read more? Can you get stronger in handling life situations? Of course. But you gotta go to work on yourself. You can't blame out there wishing it was easier. Wish you were stronger.
And you need to get rid of them excuses, and you need to stop pointing fingers at people. And you need to start pointing fingers at yourself. What did you not do?
If you can't stick to something for 5 days, you deserve to have a shitty life. You deserve exactly what you get.
I know you don't want to wake up. You don't have an option. Get out. There's a certain lifestyle we want. You got to get to a point where you're disciplined.
Commitments don't have nothing to do with your feelings. You do it because you're supposed to.
It might require you saying no to your friends. It might require you changing your diet. I had to look at all the things that I didn't have control over and say, I got to take control.
It's always you versus you. You got to be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work. No coach, no trainer, no boss can do it. You versus you.
You get up. You don't want to go run? You go run. You don't want to make your bed? You make your bed. You don't want to clean your house? You clean your house. Do something that sucks every single day of your life. That's how you grow.
And the reason why we fast, because you got to tell the flesh who's in control.
Embrace the pressure. Pressure creates diamonds.
Nobody likes stress, but in order to develop, stress is necessary.
Let it be the thing that makes you get where you want to go when everybody else is just taking it easy. You have to be willing to push through discomfort.
No more playing after today. I need you to take control.
I'm talking about you. The only person that you can actually control. You.
You're not getting up when you're supposed to get up. You procrastinate, but you let you slide. The minute you start pointing the finger, you lose power immediately. You got to take ownership.
Take extreme ownership. Get control of your ego.
And we're going to do it one day at a time.
You're stronger than you think. You're bigger than what you're up against. You were created to overcome. Born with what you need to defeat what's trying to stop you. You may feel weak, intimidated, overwhelmed. That's okay. God made us with feelings. I'm not saying don't feel things. I'm saying don't let feelings have the final say. Don't let your feelings run your life. You have to go by what you know, not by what you feel. When you're weak, you need to say, I am strong. When you feel overwhelmed, you need to say, I can do all things through Christ. When you feel intimidated, you need to say, I am a mighty hero. When the pressure feels too much, you need to say, I am well able. I can handle it.
You need to hear this because the person who hurt you didn't get away clean. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying to you. You think you're the only one that had any pain because you went in the pit. But the one who threw you in the pit has to live with the guilt that you never did a thing to hurt them. Hey, God is too just to let them get away without suffering. They may not have gone in a prison.
You know, you got to pick certain things that motivate you. The number one motivating thing for me, and I'm just being honest, was I was sick and tired of being poor. I was just exhausted. My mother was poor, my father was poor, my brothers and sisters were poor. All my friends were poor, all my relatives were poor. I lived in a poor neighborhood, we lived in a poor house. I was just like, wow, man, I watch TV. And I would see, you know, like at Christmas time, my father would put us in the car and take us out to the suburbs to see the Christmas lights. And I would see these big houses, man, with lights all on them, and they had horseshoe driveways where you just pull in and go all the way around. That was amazing to me. You know, we would pull up in the driveway, got a back out. You know, I've been doing that. And I kept saying, I told my father, I said, Dad, I said, why don't we get one of these houses? He said, boy, I ain't got no money for this kind of house. He said, but if you work hard, keep going to church like your mama say, you can make some money, you can buy you one of these houses. That was it. My motivation was to buy a big house so I could put up Christmas lights and drive in the driveway. And I'm going to tell you something. Every home I have, every house I've ever owned or built, you got to pull in one way and drive all the way around to come out there. I have never built, lived, or owned a home that did not have that driveway with gates on both sides. Never. That was the biggest motivating. So my advice is you have to find a dream that's so big that it overwhelms all of your fears and causes you to never give up. Now you're going to think about quitting no matter what you do. And I've thought about it many times, but I always just kept thinking about that house. And I've always dreamed of buying my mother and father a real house. And you know, and before they died, I was able to do all of that. Bought them houses and everything. So you just got to find the right motivation. There's some other pieces to that. I'll tell you that on the next break.
The confident man or woman is someone we all admire. Someone we all want to emulate, and rightly so. The confidence man, on the other hand, is something quite different. A colleague of mine had been approached by a stranger with a highly attractive, apparently very lucrative business proposition while on a business lunch in the Wall Street area. This out-of-the-blue proposal had all the marks of bona fide. Letterhead, seed capital, articles of incorporation, a board of advisors. In the years before he became someone my friend did business with, the man making the proposition had been active in the government operations overseas in some capacity that none of his current associates could actually explain. This former public servant intimated that the opportunity involved buying shares in a corporation set up to import and export fresh fruits and vegetables from Central and South America outside the North American growing season. Apples in April, plums in December, lettuce in February. However, under the cover of these fruits and vegetables, they would actually be selling weapons to both sides of a civil war in a medium-sized Latin American quasi-democracy, which was and is against the law and would be hard to account for if you had a chance to win big. My friend slipped away from his lunch table and placed one phone call to a man who would know. Sure enough, this very individual had been accepting investments from wealthy individuals all over the country without ever showing his books. Furthermore, so the plan ran, investors would be invited to inspect the foreign warehouses where their goods were stored and then held for sizable ransom from their families, friends, and business associates. Can you imagine what kind of person would attempt to play such a trick on someone who knows his way around? So much for one of the few real confidence men that still operate out of a restaurant. You've got to learn to crawl before you can walk, and walk before you can run. Nobody grows to be an adult in this day and age without the leap of faith, the act of confidence which says, I have the equipment to walk among people. I have the goodwill and the sharp eye to do well and to do more than just survive. And I assure you that when you sense confidence in others, you are sensing your own strength. And if they sense that confidence that you have in yourself, they can do nothing to harm you. What others have, you also have. But what others may lack, you don't have to do without. And you can be absolutely confident of that.
You know, I think, Marie, life's greatest heartbreak is being untrue to yourself. And I come from very humble beginnings. I have a great family. And yet the people around me said, if you become a lawyer, like I basically had a choice, become an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. And so I followed through on that, and I went to law school, and I became a really successful litigation lawyer. And I had, a nice place to live, and I had a nice car, and I was making great money, and people said, you're on your way to being a judge. And yet I would wake up every morning and I would look at myself in the bathroom mirror, and I didn't like or even know the person who was looking back at me. And I love that word angst. That angst just got to a point where I said I had to make some changes. And so I started listening to that silent whisper of my heart. There's something I believe in, which is instinct is much more powerful and wiser than intellect. And I think when all of us trust our instinct in a world that says intellect and logic is everything, we start to enter what Mr. Riley in the 5 a.m. Club calls the magic. And that's sort of what happened to me. I find your destiny doesn't knock, it whispers. And so it wasn't this epiphany,
Right.
It was just, I think when you start to trust your instinct and trust yourself versus the world, and you sort of block out the opinions of other people, the pace of synchronicity starts to open up, and these doors that you're supposed to walk through start to present themselves to you.
Where I got my work ethic from was the hours I had to spend learning this. When you sit down and you're not smart, and you have a disability, and you still want to be at the top of your class, I didn't want to just get by. When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school if I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy that valedictorian studied for an hour, and I caught you, and I am dumb. But I have the work ethic to catch you. That's where David Goggins got really invented.
Yeah.
Was at a kitchen table with 20 spiral notebooks that were empty. And then 3 months later, they were full. And when you can go through that, I still have them in my storage unit. You go through these spiral notebooks of your life, and you realize, this is how I learned. This is unbelievable. There's no miles. It's not about the miles. It's that. Having a discipline every day to say, for me to learn this one